Good evening. It's Marie at Messy M Creations coming to you from Leighton Buzzard. I hope you are all safe and well. I just realised I haven't done any stamp mounting. Can't do a one sheet wonder without a few stamps, can we? So today I'm focusing on Beautiful Friendship. So let's get a few of those mounted up and see if anyone is around. If you managed to join me live, do say hi, and if you're on catch up, then say hi as well. It's good to know that you've managed to catch my lives as well. So I am focusing on 3 colours today, which I thought were an interesting combination. We have Mossy Meadow, Soft Seafoam and Flirty Flamingo. So my main flowers will probably be Flirty Flamingo and Soft Seafoam, and leaves will be in Mossy Meadow, I suspect, but let's see how we go. Did anybody see the mess I had on my desk? I'm confessing it's not much better today. Been creating Christmas wrapping, so it's been a busy old day. So right, I think we're there. Let's go. So we've had Christmas tag creation, Christmas wrapping creation, it's all been going on. So let's have some non-Christmas for a change. So got my 3 ink pads, got my favourite shimmery white paper, and my Flirty Flamingo, Soft Seafoam and Mossy Meadow. So I'm going to start with some Flirty Flamingo. Start with my hydrangea sort of flower. Not sure if it is a hydrangea, but that's what we'll call it. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you are botanically not as challenged as I. So I'm just going to pop a few of these randomly around. I'm also going to do a few of these larger ones. Try not to overlap, but getting them kind of sit together. So has anybody managed to look at some of those amazing sale bargains? There is some fantastic kits in the sale. Great for all sorts of card making. Oh, and tag. There's a fantastic little tag kit. So let's go in with some Soft Seafoam. And again, with these kind of more individual flowers, I'm inking up the heads and not so much of the stems, so that I can kind of get the effect of them nestling in. Oh, she says, having just inked up the stalk. Not even really had a thought as to whether I'm going to create DL cards or something else. Well, I'm currently having the thought I might add another. I might sneak in I was going to say a third colour. I've got 3 colours. A 4th colour. Excuse me. So the flowers, but let's see how we go. Let's pop some leaves in the Mossy Meadow and see what starts happening. Sort of as I'm creating this, the DL style is cutting A4 into thirds. And I'm thinking by default I'm kind of going that way. Must have sneakily had that in my head as I was starting to create. So I've got 2 types of leaf to work with. So One Sheet Wonders work with any single stamp set or any multiple. Multitude of stamps depending what you've got in your little collection. Obviously my collection is not so little. Especially as I've now got some new product to play with from the next catalogue. Rather exciting. And if anybody is watching that doesn't have a demonstrator and wants a copy of that new catalogue, then let me know. Drop me a message and your address and I will get one off into the post to you, because I've had my delivery arrive. So I'm starting to think about where those sentiments might go and whether I do want to cut it into. I feel like I've placed those so the DL might work quite well. It's like my new addiction, isn't it? Making DL cards. I feel like I need another colour for some different flowers, although it's looking rather pretty. If I do say so myself, obs. Now I've got my little bit for popping in the middle, and I might do that in the soft sea foam. Because this is a photopolymer, I can see where I'm stamping, so I'm putting a little, might try it in Mossy Meadow actually, might work. I think that's better in a slightly stronger colour. So that's kind of representing the centre of the flower. Oh, well caught, Marie. Wouldn't have mattered if they'd fallen on the trousers. The gardener's little doggy today decided he wanted to jump up and play. So my nice clean jeans were then not quite so clean. It's quite cute though. Although in true man style, 2 men laying a pathway with a little dog running around. The dog appeared at one point minus his little coat. So they're like, well, we don't know where his little coat's gone. So I was like, oh, well, if I find it, I'll let you know. It's probably been through a bush and had it pulled off. And then as I'm chatting to them, I suddenly notice it sitting on the patio, and I'm like, are you talking about that little coat that's up there? And they're like, ah, yeah. They've been so busy looking at thinking about all the complicated places the little dog might have lost his coat that they didn't look in the most obvious place. No offence to any man on the planet, because I'm sure there are men that do look properly, but they most definitely did a man look. So that soft sea foam is quite gentle, but what I'm thinking, when we mount it onto a card, it's going to change, yes, the way it looks. So I might just do some individual of these flowers. So this stamp I'm going to very carefully only ink up, so I can just ink up the smaller of those two flowers. I'm going to do a practice just to make sure. So just need to be a little bit careful we don't get that little bit that I managed to there. So it's just right on the edge of your ink pad, picking up the ink, and then we can just add in a single flower head in the Flirty Flamingo. You do have to be a little bit careful about being right on the edge and not extending it out, but by only inking up that one flower I know I can safely pop the whole stamp on my printed work without ruining it. And that, of course, where I've got a bit more space, I might do it on the other side, although what I'm going to have to be careful of is I'm going to completely clean that on my, because what I don't want to do is get a kind of ghost flower where I don't want it. Not that anybody else would know. Or, well, you don't all know, but you won't tell anyone, will you? So I just want to ink up the larger one of the two, and really just on the head of it, not getting the stalk, so I can put it right into that little area. Might do a few of those about the place. So you don't always have to ink up a whole image. And the other thing, actually we can just have a quick demonstrate of that. If I clean this one up, the other thing that you can do is use, let's grab the right colour, Stampin' Right markers. These you can use, so the fatter end I can ink up that side of the stamp, the parts that I want to be shown, so ink up over the whole thing. Bit of heavy breathing on it. So you can see it's stamped slightly differently, but it is an easy way of inking up part of a stamp. And the other thing that you could do is, if you had several markers, you could do one flower in this colourway and you could do the other flower in a different colourway if you so wished. You kind of need a bit of hair on it. But you can see there's a slight difference in the way it stamps. That's actually quite nice. So again, by breathing on it, you're basically just making sure that it's all kind of wet in order to stamp it. So I've got a bit of a hole here, which actually might lend itself to having a sentiment. The other thing is, nothing stops me. I might have a little cut up and see. So a DL is 10 by whatever the width of an A4 sheet is. So because I want to give ½ centimetre for my piece of card to show, I'm going to cut that at 9 centimetres. You can see then I've got a nice space there for a sentiment. Potentially, if we had a sentiment that was in 2 parts, or a bigger one. I've got out tasteful touches for sentiments as well, just in case. So then, so this bit to me lends itself to being 2 standard C6 cards, so that would be 14.9-ish, and then cut that in half at 10.5. It will need cutting down again, but oh, that's rather nice, isn't it? Because then that's given me a nice space there for a sentiment and there. And then I've got a funny bit that I think will lend itself to being cut in half. Got a thought. You may have to bear with me with this one. That might go onto a note card, I think, with... Right, let's see. If I grab a note card. So I think with a one sheet wonder, no waste. Use the whole thing. Because I think then we could do that one with more... Oh yeah, that might be nice. So if you imagine that card with a bigger area of colour, although that might look rather nice. So again, you know, once you've got it, you can play to your heart's content. I quite like that offset nature though, so that's going to be a little bit different for me. So I'm going to offset that to one side, and whatever colour the base card will be my sentiment colour. But that would be quite nice and simple, wouldn't it? Oh, that's a bit unusual for me, isn't it? Oh, that'll have to have some bling on it to bling it up. But then that one, oh yes, right, we'll have a couple of those on there. So this is standard card base size, in my many piles of God only knows what all over my desk. That's going to be lovely with a base card underneath. So that just going to need a little bit of trimming, but the bit that I trim off is going to be used on the inside as an extra bit of decoration. I just need to make some colour choices, because this, so that darker, oh, got a bit of a rugged edge on that. We won't use that edge, but completely changes the way that card looks depending on the colour that you put behind it. Really pulls out different colours. So I need a couple of white card bases, so hopefully in my little box of tricks I've got a couple handy. Excellent. One book style and one book style landscape and one, I don't know what you call that, but anyway, that way up. They're two different ways up. And then I just need to quickly cut a, oh, actually I think these DLs might be cut slightly wrong. I know how to check. Oh no, they might be alright. So actually, yeah, I can cut some of that white off down there. Lovely sentiment in that area. So I need to check what size that DL is, because I know I cut some incorrectly. I did some the right size and some the wrong size. But hey, the card base police have not taken me away as yet. So in this, oh, just lost a little stamp. Oh, no, we'll find that in a bit. Something very little fell off then. So in this set we have birthdays are the best days. With big congratulations and best wishes to you. So very happy to know you. And I love our beautiful friendship. What I'm thinking is birthdays are the best days might be rather nice in that area with a little bit of bling around. How about that slightly longer congratulations one fits in beautifully there. Oh yes. Right, so let's see in my sea of... Please tell me other people work in complete and utter chaos when they're crafting. If you're a tidy crafter, I don't wish to know. I'm most definitely not, that's all. So I'm actually going to cut off some of the pattern on that one and I'm going to use it inside the card the other way around. So this one I'm going to pop on, I might pop that on a Mossy, Mossy Meadow, Flirty Flamingo. Let's do this one on Flirty Flamingo. Decisions, decisions. Now I've lost my trimmer. There it is. So that's a standard card base, so 10.5. So this is going to be 10. So I'm taking 1/2 centimetre off the size of my card base. That will then give me that little bit of white showing around the edges. And then this one I've already cut the width, so I need to take, and I'm going to take 1/2 centimetre off the patterned edge. And then that 1/2 centimetre, that little bit, we don't waste. So what we are going to do is organise ourselves a little bit better and get some wet glue and just run a, where my hands are just, that's going to cause more of a problem, isn't it? I think one of my Christmas projects is going to be improving my lighting for you. So I'm just putting a little bit of wet glue along that piece. Oh, transpires that top bit's better. So what that does is just sits inside the card at a kind of visually correct, but when we open the card, it's just lovely to see that pattern replicated. So we'll just get rid of that little bit because it's got glue on it and we don't want to get in a pickle. So as I say, that's just kind of visually straight, wet glue generally, because I don't have a tape that's that as fine as that, and that wet glue gives us a little bit of wriggle room, so that's just sitting on the inside of the card. But you can see then as you open the card you get that little bit of detail, which is rather nice. So let's get our stamp and seal and just and then, gosh, you can tell it's getting darker. I've gone super shadowy, haven't I think? I need the light coming from the other way. If anybody has any lighting advice, then I am more than happy to listen. As in, not... Oh, hold on. I'm not cut enough off. I don't need to cut 1 centimetre off, not 1/2 centimetre. So we need to be a little bit careful cutting this now because I've got this tape on it. And we don't want everything sticking to everything else. But we have a second little bit of tape that's already handily taped up, so need to be careful about that. Oh, that was nearly a disaster. There we go. We've recovered. We're quite safe. Then let's just grab one of these blocks and ink up this sentiment. Get the right way up for a start, and I'm going to use my Flirty Flamingo. It's one of my things and I don't know why, and there is no Stamping Police, but I like to have the sentiment in the same colour as the base card. That's my thing. So there's our sentiment on that card. Rather pretty. The only thing we might need to do is maybe fill in some of those. No, let's leave alone, Marie. Leave alone. I'm going to pop some Mossy Meadow behind this one. I'm going to measure that card base as well because I think it should be 10. Yes, it is. So that is 10. So this card base needs to be 9.5. Then I take 1/2 centimetre off. I've used the scraggy edge rather than the nice edge. Do that again, 9.5, and take off 1/2 centimetre because a DL card is the same width as an A4 sheet, and I'm working with an A4 sheet. So that 1/2 centimetre. No, see, it's not long. It's not the right length. I knew there was something I'd done wrong with some card bases. So this is a 20 centimetre long card, so I need this base layer to be 19.5. So a DL card should be the same width as a A4 sheet, but for reasons best known to somebody other than me, I cut those ones wrong. But again, not a disaster. And so then, no, this is going to be cut at 19. So I'm cutting the white off from the bottom of that card. So that little bit is still useful for a sentiment on another card. So that goes in my little white scraps bag. for use as for a sentiment on another card. So that is going to fit perfectly. And then birthdays are the best days. We've got that Mossy Meadow, so I'm going to do the Mossy Meadow again, and then I'll play with the other ones. I'll go off air, as it were, and play with the other ones, and then I will show you how they ended up a bit later by posting the pictures. But you can see how flexible a one sheet wonder can be. And then all we might add, oh actually those clear ones, what colours have we got in? No, that's just put some simple diamantes. I find if you use these standard diamantes, you can still get away with a standard stamp. As soon as you start putting anything on that's any thicker, you do then tend to need to go for a large stamp. Postage is going up in the new year. Post office has been doing a fantastic job through lockdown, getting all our post out to us, and I've sent a lot of happy mail this year, so it is going up a little bit. But I think on this one I might use these clear ones. These are the Elegant Faceted Gems, so they're not going to be completely obvious, as in I'm not going to colour them, but they're just pretty to add. Actually, I might use two bigger ones and then a smaller one I'm going to pop just there. So I tend to do them in odds. It tends to sit better. You kind of try and want to avoid them being too even, but oh, not tape that one together. I would recommend generally putting your bling on after you've taped the cards together rather than before. You will see why when I whoops a daisy, gosh, my papers are alive this evening. So that is going onto my card base with that little ½ centimetre all the way around the edge. As I say, it's not quite correct, but what's going to happen now is I get a slightly uneven surface to run my tape across, so you just need to be a little bit careful you're not putting too much pressure on, but the Stampin' Seals don't like too much pressure anyway. And then that is being centralised onto there. So there we go, there's the first two from my one sheet wonder, and that's using Beautiful Friendship and Mossy Meadow, Soft Sea Foam and Flirty Flamingo. So hopefully you like those two cards. I will make the others after I come off live, and I will pop a post in later to show you how I finish them. So thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again. Take care. Bye bye.